All right, guys, we're going to take a look at quadratic functions. What are quadratic functions? There are three forms, okay? Three ways to look at this, and they're very important that you understand all three. There's standard form, and that looks like ax squared plus bx plus c, for example. Y equals x squared plus 2x minus 5. This is standard form, where you have x squared, and if there's no number there, it's an invisible 1. B right here is obviously 2. C is negative 5. So it looks like this. It goes squared, x, just a number. Okay, so that's called standard form. Then you have vertex form. All right, vertex form, you see it still has a squared, and this is how you know everything is quadratic. Anything where the highest power is squared, then you know it's quadratic. And we'll talk about factored form in just a second. But vertex form, it has parentheses, squared, and then there may or may not be a number there. So again, A would be a number right outside the parentheses, which is an invisible 1. H would be this number here, but because it's negative, you have to take the opposite of that. And then K would be this number right here. Okay, so you kind of just match it. So again, standard form, it goes squared X number. Vertex form, you have one parentheses with a squared value. And then you have the third one, which is factored form. Factored form, you will have two parentheses. So you should see two parentheses, no squared, because what it is when you multiply that out, you'll see the squared term. So again, when you're looking at factored term, A is 1/2. Minus R would be this right here. And again, because this is positive, that's negative. To make this negative, you take the opposite. Minus S, that's already here. So S would be 6. Okay, so you just kind of matching everything together. But the big thing is standard form, it goes x squared, then x, then the number. If you have vertex form, one parenthesis with a squared. If you have factored form, no squared, two parentheses. Okay, very important that you're able to distinguish as standard, vertex, or factored form. All right, so let's talk about some definitions. So we have our terms here. So terms is the number of things separated by adding and subtracting. So let's look at that. So I see adding and subtracting right here. So this is the number of things separated by adding and subtracting. So how many things do you see that are here that are separated by adding and subtracting? 3. So these are 3 terms. Okay, so every time you're adding or subtracting in between, that's separation, and that's the number of terms. So there are 3 terms. All right, degree is the highest exponent. So remember, exponents are the powers. Looking at all the exponents, you have that one, invisible 1 there, no exponent there. What is the highest exponent? So you have squared. So this has a degree of 2. Degree of 2. All right, coefficient, all right, is the number in front of the variable. So let me ask this question. What is the coefficient of 2x? So what is the coefficient of 2x? So looking right here, the question is, the coefficient is the number in front of the variable. So what's the variable? X. What's the number in front of it? 2. So the coefficient of 2x is 2. Okay, so we're just going over some definitions. All right, next one. The leading coefficient is the number in front of the variable with the highest degree. So again, find your highest degree. That's this one right here. Highest degree. What is the number in front of it? If there's no number there, it is an invisible 1. So the leading coefficient for this is 1. What is a constant? A constant is the number with no variable. So looking right here, this has a variable, this has a variable, this does not have a variable. So the number with no variable, the constant in this equation is -5. Again, we're just looking at definitions. All right, polynomial name is based on the highest degree. So if it has the highest degree is 1, it's linear. If it's 2, it's quadratic. If it's 3, it's cubic. If it's 4, it's quartic. If it's 5, it's quintic. So looking here, what is the highest degree? The highest degree is squared. So this is what? Quadratic. And that makes sense because that's what we're going to be talking about. So this is quadratic. All right, please go ahead and pause the video and copy this down on example 2 under evaluating quadratics. All right, so we're going to show you 2 different methods of evaluating quadratics using the Desmos calculator. So we'll do example 1 first, complete the table for the following function. So we're going to type the equation into Desmos. This is what you're typing into Desmos. So you're going to type it in exactly as you see it, or you can just type it in after the equal sign. It doesn't really matter. All right, so x squared plus 3x minus 5. Always double check whatever you are typing in. So type in the equation into Desmos. I've typed it in. Click settings wheel, then table, settings, then table. Okay, if the value you're looking for isn't there, type it into the X input. So if I was looking for 10, I would type it into the X input and it would give me the Y output. All right, so let's go ahead and fill this table. So we're looking for -2, so this is going to be -15. -1 is going to be -9. 0 is -5. And 3 is not there, so I'm going to type in 3. 3 is -5. All right, so that's one way of evaluating a function. You can do it with a table, so you can put the function in there, click table, settings table, and then you have it and type in whatever you look. The second method we're going to take a look at. So now we're going to copy this one. And again, you should have copied the notes on how to do it right here. So it said type in your equation. So I'm just going to type in my equation real quick, which was -2x plus x plus 2. All right, so type in your equation, then it said type in the question. So here's my question. So the thing about typing in the equation, you have to type in the whole thing. Well, let me see actually. Let's see, g of, here's the question, -3. All right, yes, it wouldn't give me anything because I haven't defined what g is. So in the question for this method, you have to type in the whole thing. So you have to say, hey, this is what g of x is, calculator. Now go ahead and give me g of -3, and you see it'll give it to you. So g of -3 is -19. So two methods. You can type in the equation, then hit settings table, make it a table and look at it, or you can type in the equation and then the question. All right, g of -2 is -8. G of 0 is +2, and I'm going to go ahead and let you complete this last one. So again, you're going to pick whatever method you want, type in the full function, then the question, or you can type in the full function, hit settings, and make it a table. Let's practice.